написано про то, что необходим справедливый мир в Украине, и про то, что мы осуждаем попытки давления в интересах Кремля на Украину. И там написано о том, что мы осуждаем депортацию не совершивших никаких преступлений мигрантов и другие вещи. Просим вас остаться до конца и проголосовать за эти документы в том составе, в котором мы будем. А если вам очень надо уйти раньше, но вы все равно это поддерживаете, пожалуйста, дайте об этом знать, напишите, чтобы мы учли ваш голос. Это долгожданная для нас встреча нашего сообщества вне зумов. Примерно 1,5 часа мы будем говорить по-английски, потому что то, о чем мы будем говорить, как и большинство наших форумов, прежде всего адресовано американскому обществу и тем, кто принимает там решения. И сегодня это наше обращение к нему будет о необходимости и для больших организаций, влиятельных групп, и для таких маленьких относительно сообществ, как наше, вставать на защиту прав человека в Америке, и в том числе прав беженцев и других законопослушных мигрантов. И, разумеется, на защиту Украины от того, что я бы назвал коричневой угрозой не только из Москвы, но и от администрации Трампа, ультранационалистической, прокремлевской, которая угрожает своим гражданам и миру произволом, и от рвущихся к власти дружков в других странах. Это краткая сводка всего того, о чем я буду говорить по-английски. Now I will switch to the primary language of the first part of our today's program, which is the language that we must speak with other parts of American society on the topics and the messages that we want and are going to convey here. I'm very happy to see here some of those dear friends who speak English with a different accent than mine, including some with a native accent, Native American accent, if there is such, probably not. They would, of course, be way more effective here in my place, but I've got to do what I can, and it's truly my great pleasure, but I apologize for my raspy winter voice. And regardless of accent, it's great to see you all in this room today, and some of us met here 7 years ago for an event with an assemblyman and the celebration of the centenary of the poet Alexandra Matwiychuk. And do we have everything? Sure, okay, perfect. So thanks to Europe for fixing the technical part in the meanwhile, which is hugely important. And of course, as I said, I want to thank Natalia Petrov. We owe her a lot, most of all for being able to meet here once again after all these years in this beautiful space of this distinguished university, which holds such a unique place at the crossroads between academia and the daily struggles of our society. And Natalia, who unfortunately has not much time to stay with us, and because of the family situation and otherwise, I just want to say that she has been giving us so much of her time and thought for more than a decade now, including the very first big anti-war rally with Ukrainian friends in front of the Russian mission over 11 years ago. And her tremendous help has made so much of this work possible, in spite of all the many things that they may have done to shatter her commitment to what they are doing, but so far I think I failed to do so. So this event, like all of these other events that we do these days, will be video recorded, hopefully unless something else breaks down, and then we edit the video and publish the most interesting part. And if you don't like to be in the published video, please let us know, that's okay. So this is done by 5 organizations in total. Natalia and I represent here both RCC, which is our local immigrant service and advocacy nonprofit, and also ARA, which is our national and sometimes international human rights network with chapters around the country. You see some of those chapters on Zoom. They have joined us all the way from San Francisco and Atlanta. I will introduce them later. And this is the oldest one that brings together Russian exiles opposed to autocracy and war. Today's event is a sequel to the many that we've held since the Kremlin's invasion of Crimea, and is a part of our ongoing Ukrainian and Russian diaspora peace action, which is the one and only such platform for dialogue since 2014. But today's event goes beyond that serious, because by now Ukraine has become the battleground for more than just one war of the Putin dictatorship against the Ukrainian people. Ukraine is now the front line of the joint assault on American and European democracy, and on the international rule of law, and thus on all of us, by the new unholy alliance, which unfortunately comprises now, in a sense, the leadership, the present administration of the United States, together with their allies in some of the capitals of Europe, who are either in power or want to get in power, and in the Middle East. and I define them as far-right international. More about this later today and in the drafts that we have distributed for your review. Ukraine's success, and I personally would like to use the word victory, it can be defined in various ways. Ukraine's success, or vice versa, it's the failure, which would be not the failure so much of Ukraine, but of its Western partners, will define the future of this country and its ability to push back against further Putinization of our system. So Ukraine's freedom is intimately connected with ours here in the United States, not to mention the freedom of European countries from the anti-European and anti-liberal diktat, which is now coming also, unfortunately, from the powers that be here in the United States, as well as from the Kremlin for a long time, for many years. That's why our title today is For Your Freedom and Ours. And perhaps this interconnection between the fight for human rights and democracy in the West and on the front lines of Ukraine may as well redefine our organization's work and maybe subsequently its name in the future. And like most of our events, our scenario and run of show for today will be connecting our present with our, as they say, unpredictable past. Because looking into it, we may be able to discern the seeds of future and the ways to influence better than if we keep fixated on our dismal present. So we will alternate between our current situation and the flashbacks to some of the best in our shared history and culture, which of course, one of those best is represented by the Pushkin Society, of which I obviously will speak soon. That best in our shared culture and history is standing up against arbitrary rule and against empire. And by reconnecting with this past, which the Pushkin Society has been helping us to do in all our work for many years, we are setting the bar, or as the non-profit lingo says, the baseline for where we should strive to be as opposed to where we are now. We work together across a big spectrum of views. Not everybody has to agree with each other, but today we're here not to engage in the deep debate. We have draft projects that have been put together and proposed by a group of leadership of our association. I'm very grateful to Tatiana for taking care of partly editing it and for supporting the gist of these projects. No one has to participate in this if you don't share this, but if you do, if you feel that the gist of it is correct, we ask you to support this at the end of this meeting, or to leave us your support in writing if you have to leave early. Just in case, if you don't have them on your phones, if it's difficult for you to pull them from your phones, I printed some copies that you can take. The main one is here on the corner of the table, on the desk, where Andrew sits. The main draft is in the middle, and the two resolutions are on the sides. You can just take them. Это значит, мы просим вас, те, кто по каким-либо причинам, принципиальным или другим, не хочет этого поддерживать, не надо. Но те, для кого суть этого близка и понятно, просим в конце нашей сегодняшней встречи поддержать, проголосовать за эти проекты. Можно внести какие-то изменения. Я очень благодарен Татьяне, которая взяла на себя частичное редактирование этих проектов, но в конце дня мы хотим иметь окончательный текст.